we're back again. Now it's time to finish out our onion dome cathedral landscapes. Now the last time in the last video, we were able to add color to the domes. We added water so they came alive and they look really good. So now it's time to kind of get to a finishing point. Now first thing, before we do anything more to the cathedrals, let's work on what the background's going to look like. First things first, add a horizon line. Remember that the horizon line is where the ground ends and the sky begins. So I'm going to add a horizon line here and maybe let it go off here. Never put your horizon line down on where it lands. That plays with the space and it flattens the space, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so now we've got that. We've pushed the land back. When you're thinking about your background for this, keep it simple. You could leave it just as an open sky, or if you wanted to add a little something extra, you could. I'm going to add, since we were talking about Anastasia, it is January and wintry and cold, I'm going to put some snow in this. So to draw snow, I'm just going to draw these circles, but I'm not going to make them too small because I'm going to go around them with the marker to create the effect of the snow falling with the colored sky. Your sky can be any color that you want. Hopefully you chose a color that is not like one of your dome colors, so that it won't get lost in the background. So I'm being very controlled with this. Notice that my circles are not sloppy. I'm trying to be neat with them. And by the way, if you're hearing people talking in the background, it's because my son and my husband have really loud voices, and I do apologize for that. Alright, so there's my snowflakes. Now I'm going to decide what color sky I want, and I think I would like a purple sky. So I'm going to take the purple marker, and I'm going to do just like I did for the buildings. I'm going to go around my snowflakes. Ideally, you want to make this kind of a thicker line, so maybe I'm going to go around a couple times. This marker looks like it's on the end of its life, and that's okay for this project, because sometimes when you're using the water with the project, it is better if they are a little bit going out. You just get it blends better. The markers blend better. And I'm going around all of these, and again, notice I'm being, somewhat neat about it, at least around the circle itself. Some of them, their outside edges a little bit wider, and that's just because the more color you have there, the more color will go down. So keep on going, keep on going. I'm also going to outline around the onion dome buildings. Okay, so I've outlined all of my snowflakes. I'm going to just come around through here. I'm going to outline right at my horizon line, but on the top part of the horizon line. And then I'm going to go around all of the buildings. Notice I'm turning the marker sideways so I can get a nice thick line. But I'm being neat. I don't want to go in to the dome. This might require turning the paper. Okay, so if I turn the paper so I can get a nice control of my line as I go around. I'm just going to keep going around and around, and we're going to do this to all of the domes. Okay, I've got all my domes outlined. Now I'm going to take the marker around, and as thick of an edge as I can make, I'm going to go around the edge of my paper in the sky. You can really see how my marker's going out. But again, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to go up this top edge here. Try if you come up to a snowflake or whatever you put. Maybe yours is like not in the wintertime. There's no snow. Maybe you put some stars and a moon up there. Same thing, like when you get to it, you just want to be neat. Now, down at the bottom edge, if it's snowing, then really not, it's going to be white. So, but I want to put a shadow in, so I'm going to use gray. And I'm going to come in with a thick line of gray right at the base of my onion domes, because they would have what's called a cast shadow. I'm going to let this one just kind of go off a little bit. Now I am ready for the water. So I'm going to take a brush. Remember, if you're using a brush, you need to use a soft brush. If it's a hard brush, it could mess up your paper. So I'm going to come and start up here at the top and work my way down. Be very careful to go around your shapes. Really kind of smoothing that marker around. And you're just going to keep doing this. When you come down, like I'll show you when you come down around through here, be very controlled. Like I want my snowflakes to stay white, so it's really important that I'm trying to be very careful. Now I've got a lot of water in there, so I've got to be careful with that too, because I don't want it to bleed into my onion domes. That's why it was really important too to wait for your onion domes to dry before you attempt to do your background. Because if you do it ahead of time, if you try to do it all at once, they might bleed into each other and then it looks messy and it's not pretty. And these are supposed to be really vibrant and colorful. So sometimes patience in letting the process of the painting take place is important. A lot of times when you do watercolor, you usually work 2 paintings at once so that you do allow for that drying time in between each one. Unfortunately, though, our 6 weeks just doesn't allow us to do multiples like that. Okay, so we're going to keep going until it's all the way covered. Alright, so I've got the background. I'm going to do this foreground. I want to make sure I get all that purple out of my brush. And then, because it is snow, I don't want to cover the whole thing. I just want to kind of loosen. And since it's a shadow, I just want to loosen it and kind of go around it. I don't want it to go all the way through because I want it to have a little bit of snow, the appearance of snow. Just kind of giving it a shadow there. Okay? So, that's going to dry. And then the next step, which you can kind of work in some areas, but I'm looking like it did go over and like that one. Maybe you can work some of the, like the center areas where it's not near an outside edge because you don't want it to dry on those. You can come back in, and if there's some areas that you want to pull out to stand out more, then you can add that in. Now this is where it gets tricky. If you were adding in a color, think about what color you're adding and think about what makes different colors. So for example, in this blue, I wouldn't want to add orange in the blue because blue doesn't make orange. Okay? Blue can make green, blue can make purple. So I could add yellow, I could add green, or I could go another direction and I could add red, or I could add blue. Okay, purple. So that might sound confusing, but it's all in what you decide that you're going to add there. I could even just add blue. I could make the blue pop out more. So for example, like these edges here, maybe I come in so they stand out more. Oh, watch your hand. I just put my hand in the shadow there. So I need to be really careful. Ideally, you're waiting for it to dry before you do this. And do it after the background is done, because if you try to do it beforehand, what can happen is they'll blend with one another. Because this is fresh ink going down, which means it can activate. If you're going over the around your edges of your domes and you found it doesn't bleed, it's because you kind of already used up whatever loose ink is left there, and you're just left with the stain of what remains. Okay, so I'm pulling that out, and then I've got these in here. I want to do something different with those so they stand out a bit. So I'm going to try a green, but I'm going to try a lighter green and see what happens. And it mixes, the two mix, and I'm just getting another shade of green, and they're popping out. Okay, and then right in here I can do these. I think I'm going to take, because this is kind of reds and I think there were pinks in there, I'm going to use red in these dots to give them a little bit of extra pizzazz. Around my windows and doors, I want to definitely add stuff to them to stand out. Now on this one, because I have blue here, I can add blue here because blue and red make purple, and that would be okay to do. I'm going to add blue around my window frames. And be really careful to stay in your lines. You're like, but I can't do that. Well, it's time to learn. And you learn by practice. You have to start somewhere. So now that's starting to come alive a little bit. Okay, so maybe something inside of there. How about pink? I'm going to go with pink. So I'm just going to fill that space with the pink. Knocking this out. And you're just going to keep doing this through all of them. But your best bet is to wait until it is dry before you attempt to do it, because you don't want them to bleed. Now, if I really want to bring this dome out, I think it was done in that pink color. So just to add some more to it, I'm going to go and do every other one. Can you tell a difference between this one that wasn't done with anything and this one that has something to it? Now I just need to hit my dome up here. Now I'm just going to go with dark green dots. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to stay within what you have and just kind of darken it. Okay, doesn't that look cool? Okay, so I'm going to keep going to do the rest of them. Okay, I'm getting there. I've got two. Got this one really close. I'm going to keep going. Let's see first. Let me see what happens when I'm putting yellow on the orange, and that's making a really cool yellow orange. I'm going to do that in the stripes too. You might be able to see it as much, but I can see it. Not in the stripes so much, so I think I'll bring in the red. And I'm going to go right on top. Because red and orange and yellow all work together, you can add them in, and they create different colors. So the markers naturally blend with each other. Let's see. Got red here. I'm going to put red in right here. Here. I'm going to do the every other dome twist with the red. Again, don't forget to be neat about adding your colors. You want it to, it's architecture, so you want it to look solid. One more to go. Almost there. That one's kind of does its own thing, so I'm not doing anything there. Try to see if the yellow will just pop out here. From my vantage point, it does. You can sort of see it through the video. One last decision to make. What to put inside those windows. to put in I already did blue in that one. How about orange? Well, how about orange? That sounds like a great idea. Let's see what happens. Yep, I'm good with orange. There we go. Oh, the door needs something. Let's look at the door be something different. Let's see. The door shall be purple. The door shall be purple. Even though my purple is about to go out. There we go. And voila, we have completed the Onion Dome cathedrals. Ta-da! Okay, now go make your masterpiece.